Alright guys, here we are. We're back with the N60 medium range attachment tutorial. Now this is all going to be under the assumption that you've watched part 1, because I've explained some things over there that you really should have watched. Obviously if you need this information, you should go back to part 1, because you should learn how to do all of your attachments, just not medium range, you know. So you should go back right now. I'll put a link up in the corner, right up here, and go back and watch that. Now we're going to move on to the M60 LMG. Okay, now this is what I would consider a medium range machine gun. So what this does, it has decent range, decent accuracy. It's a pretty decent gun across the board, with the exception of its weird recoil. Not really super heavy, but weird recoil nonetheless. So what we're going to do is, for the M60, it has what is a 0.2 second ADS time, which is a 0.2 of a second. That's very fast. That's the fastest that an LMG can ever get. So I would not want to spoil that by using the rapid aim red dot, which would put me at a 0.3 second, which is almost twice as much aim down sight now, or the M145, which would put me at a 0.6 second under regular circumstances. The M60 in specific, I don't know about anything else, has a glitch right now with the M145 where it still maintains its 0.2 second aim down sight. But for this video, we're going to assume it has a 0.6 seconds, because that's how most LMGs react, and you may not be using this LMG, so I don't want you to go under false pretenses thinking this, like, why is my gun acting so slow? That would be why. So assume it has a 0.6 under all circumstances, because regularly it does when you're talking about LMGs. In other guns, I don't know the exact numbers, since I'm the medic guy. It's still a significant increase. It's a noticeable increase in time, but usually for the other classes, it's not too big of a deal. So, but for the LMGs, it's a huge deal. So this could be a deal breaker for you. But in this case, I would only use the iron sights for the M60. You'll love them. They're great iron sights, and if you master them, you'll thank me later, because you'll be able to wreck it up in pretty much any range once you master them. Now with the barrel add-on, precision barrel, once again, for longer range targets. If you're not hitting longer range targets, don't get it. Heavy barrel is what we're going to go with for this. I've already explained most of the other attachments here. So we're going to go with a heavy barrel in this case, simply because it covers a middle ground here. It does a little bit of my velocity. I don't need too much of it on this gun, because I'm not hitting those super long ranges, and I don't need a lot of long range damage or short range damage, because this gun has pretty good damage. And not too severe damage drop off, so I'm not a big deal on that. Not to mention, I'm going to be using what's called Viper mags. These are the most OP, need to be nerfed mags in the game. They are pretty much nothing but a buff to your gun, and unless you're using a very specific setup, Viper mags are pretty much standard issue across the board for all guns in the game. And they pretty much need a nerf, but until then, this is pretty much what you gotta use if you're using anything other than CQC mags or caskets. They give you plus, but that damage in store stats are garbage. Don't listen to them. What it does, it does give you plus 24 bullets per magazine, so that can put you at a pretty high level. I think it's 104 rounds per magazine with the M60, and then it pretty much levels out your damage across the board. You lose a little bit of damage, but your damage never really drops too low anymore. So, say you were hitting at 29 damage at close range, I think you drop 2 each time. So that's not a huge drop off. It's noticeable, but way less noticeable than it was before, to where you can go from 29 damage close range all the way down to 20 damage to even high teens, before Vipers. So these things are pretty much essential for anything other than close range, in which case CQC or caskets are pretty much the way to go, unless you have some kind of specific setup going. I hate to say that, because I don't want everyone just spamming these, but I gotta be truthful to you guys, because I'm not gonna lie. That's just the way the game is. I hope they fix it. God love, I hope they fucking fix it. Alright, stock. With this one, I prefer Thunderbolt, because I can manage the side recoil, because I'm used to the P90 side recoil and the AUG side recoil, but and I can manage vertical recoil, but I really want to nail it down. And since I don't have the balance stock, I can't keep the side recoil managed. I might as well keep the vertical recoil managed, because vertical recoil, while I prefer to manage vertical recoil side to side, I can manage side to side just fine. So Thunderbolt is the way I'm going to go. Tactical stock does work, but it works a lot less efficiently than, say, a Thunderbolt or a stabilized would. And that's pretty much the setup on here. We've set this one up for a medium to long range encounters. It'll work great in CQC just because of how much damage this thing pumps out, but pretty much that is the way this one's going to work. You could probably change it up a little bit. Say if you want to go all long range, I would go with a precision or a predator barrel. Or if you want to go for CQC and you know you can hit these shots, since you have that .2 ADS time, I would hit up CQC mags because that will increase your damage significantly. And now you can aim in almost as fast as I think an assault rifle can with a sight on. So that's a pretty significant bonus there. You're hitting super high damage. You're getting super fast aim down sights. Nothing faster than any of the other classes, but it's still fast enough to where you can easily compete with the other classes. So, and then the recoil is iffy, but if you're rolling, if you manage this gun, you'll know what I'm talking about when you use it. It's manageable at almost any range except for the most extreme, and in CQC it's negligible, and you can really tear it up in CQC. So this is about a medium to close range gun. That's where this gun falls in line for me. You can get long range kills relatively easy with it, but nothing too extreme unless you tap fire, in which case you're not being effective with your gun. You're not using it right anyways. So we're going to move on to the next gun. This is going to be the end of tutorial part 2. It's going to be a really short one, I know. But we're going to move on to the M27IR in the next video. And that will be our long range tutorial. I will see you there.